growing concerns about what is really driving the entire stock market. That is the spending boom around AI. It is the circle and the cycle of AI investing. Companies are investing in other companies, which are then investing back into those other companies, and so on. It's hundreds of billions of dollars of money being poured really into just a few big tech firms. And we know it is very difficult to keep up with all of this stuff. That's our job. So how about this? As Mackenzie Sigalos writes in a must-read piece on CNBC.com right now, at roughly, very roughly, $50 billion per site, OpenAI's projects alone add up to about $850 billion in spending. That is nearly half of the $2 trillion global AI infrastructure spend that HSBC is predicting. Now, you know this. Much of that money is going to NVIDIA, Oracle, and a couple of others. Now, of course, these huge AI factories don't just run on money. They run on electricity. And from a power perspective, the numbers are also staggering to the point of being almost unbelievable. Get this. In less than 48 hours, OpenAI has announced commitments equal to the electricity output of 17 new nuclear power plants, or about 9 Hoover dams. The bottom line is this. It is a spending spree right now, unlike we have ever seen, even at the creation of the internet itself. Let's talk about it all with Mackenzie, who's just back from one of those big projects out in the Texas desert. Mackenzie, great piece, by the way. I urge everybody to go read it. And Deutsche Bank also had a note out this morning, and I think they put it into perspective. Deutsche Bank writes this, quote, simplifying it, perhaps NVIDIA, which employed only 36,000 people at the last update earlier this year, holds the keys to all global macro in 2026, end quote. So, Mackenzie, you were with Sam Altman yesterday, and you did express some growing concerns about these numbers. Is he concerned?
He's not. And part of that comes from the fact that Sam Altman told me he's all in on nuclear. He's backed fusion and fission companies, even helped one of them to go public, and he wants to see a lot more plants built.
I am extremely bullish about nuclear, advanced fission, fusion. I even think we should build a lot more of the current generation of fission plants. Given the needs for dense energy, I think we as a world need to be investing much more in nuclear build-up than we are.
Now, 17 gigawatts is the equivalent of about 17 nuclear reactors, and each takes at least a decade to build. Altman says they are in talks with a mix of power providers, but there are no hard answers yet, and that is the problem, Brian. The U.S. grid, it's already strained. New gas turbines are sold out through 2028. Nuclear is slow to deploy, and renewables are tied up in political roadblocks under the Trump administration. When I asked what that looks like on the ground right now, Altman pointed to the Abilene site, only a fraction of its eventual size, and said that even at this stage, it shows what it takes just to deliver part of ChatGPT's current demand.
This is the first place we started building out, one of the Stargate sites. This is now about maybe 20% of the size that it'll eventually be, a little bit less than that. And this is what it takes to deliver ChatGPT. When you ask ChatGPT something, it gives you an answer. You don't really think about what goes into that. And it's a huge amount of work.
But the real bottleneck, you said it, Brian, is not money, it's power. OpenAI has already scouted more than 800 sites across North America with nuclear, wind, and solar all on the table. But there are still big question marks about how this build-out will actually get done.
Okay, am I wrong in that, and you track this more closely than I do, Mac, but when I look at some of the spending, it does seem a little circular, like A company invests in B company, which invests in C company, which then invests back in A company. It seems like a lot of the same dollars are being counted multiple times, or maybe I'm just old and skeptical.
That's exactly the question that I put both to OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and to their CFO, Sarah Fryer, who's handling the economics behind this. They say that a rising tide lifts all ships here. It is in everyone's best interest to see this economy rise. So that's why, I think really the best way to think about this. You've got the U.S. only expected to add about 63 gigawatts this year. NVIDIA and OpenAI's plans alone could consume 16% of that. And that's why the circular economy dynamic that you're pointing to is so concerning. But we are seeing these multi-year deals, and their point is, yes, these are blockbuster numbers on the face of it, but a lot of these things don't come online until the back half of 2026, back half of 2027. And it's meant to scale along with OpenAI's revenue, scaling with it. $13 billion this year, targeting $130 billion in revenue by 2030.
It's crazy. We went from we're going to phase them out, oil and gas, to we need more of everything in about 5 years. It's truly remarkable. Mackenzie Sigalos back from West Texas. Mac, thank you.